Star Wars 7x7, episode 2677. So today's a Monday, which means that it would normally be a FET day. At least that's what it's been the past couple of weeks. But it is November 1st today. And so we're going to put FET day on hold and instead talk about what is coming in the world of Star Wars storytelling this month. Punch it. Hey Rebel Rouser, I'm Alan Voivod and this is Star Wars 7x7, your daily dose of Star Wars joy, and thank you so much for joining me for it. So if you're new to these episodes that we do, basically the gist is this. There are 12 categories in which Star Wars storytelling may happen, and so for the month of November, we'll run down those 12 categories and see whether we have new storytelling opportunities that will be debuting or check in on the progress of storytelling happening within those categories. And we start off, as always, in the movies category, about which we still know precious little. And the only thing that we know about is Rogue Squadron in specific. I mean, we don't know what's coming in 25 or 27 just yet, which movie it's going to be, who's the director is going to be. But we do know Rogue Squadron from Patty Jenkins in 2023. Still haven't had any news of significance about it for the last few months. But looking back at the production of The Force Awakens, the Art of the Force Awakens book actually has a month-by-month breakdown of what they were working on. And so looking at the November 2013 installment there, they had just finalized the design for the First Order Stormtrooper. They were getting their first sketches out of the costume department for Rey's character. They were still working on the final design for Kylo Ren's character. The creature department was still generating designs. Art departments were creating designs for Act 3 story ideas, and location scouting had begun. So, for example, the Greenham Common set, which is where the Resistance base was in The Force Awakens, that was identified and considered to be a prime location for consideration in location shooting in November of 2013. And there's one other thing that's probably happening. There's a reference to pre-visualization happening with The Force Awakens, although it still wasn't even called The Force Awakens. They didn't even have a title yet for it at the time. But in thinking about the notion of pre-visualization, basically sort of creating animation that represents what the final movie could look like, well, if they have a completed script, which they do, I should say, since they have a completed script, they can start creating pre-visualizations for the script, and that might give them some ideas to design against, or might even suggest that, oh, maybe the art department might want to focus on this particular section of the movie in this month, for example. So in addition to all the other pre-production things that we've talked about on previous episodes of the show, it's likely that pre-visualization and location scouting are also underway. On the live action front, we're counting down the days until the Book of Boba Fett. And then the Kenobi series is in post-production and the Andor series is in post-production, so that's fantastic. And the Acolyte is still, as far as we know, in the writer's room, and possibly the Ahsoka series is in the writer's room too. On the animation front, Bad Batch Season 2 production continues. There had been a post on Instagram from Michelle Ong, who plays Omega on the series, showing that she was actually doing voice work for it at the time. That was a month or two ago, so presumably that's still ongoing, but we haven't had any further information about that. That was just one of those random Instagram posts that we got that was great fun, but otherwise no new information at this point. On the books front, DK Publishing has a lot of stuff coming out this month, and I think probably the three biggest titles they have are Star Wars Battles That Changed the Galaxy, which was delayed from October, but now it's coming out tomorrow, November 2nd, and it's also supposed to come out the same day as an updated version of Star Wars Year by Year, which is not a canon timeline thing. It's actually a book about, what was going on in 1977, 78, 79, so it's real world stuff, what was going on then, and as relates to Star Wars and Star Wars events happening in the real world. And then at the end of the month, on November 30th, they are releasing an updated version of their character encyclopedia. On the fiction side of things, Thrawn Ascendancy Lesser Evil, which is the finale in that trilogy, is coming out mid-month on November 16th. And that, of course, rolls right into the audiobook situation. We've got an audiobook version of that too. And I believe there's also a 5-minute stories audiobook situation coming for Star Wars 2, which is really cool and cute for younger audiences. On the short story front, we're not scheduled to get Star Wars Insider until, well, supposed to be on newsstands in early December. That does mean that possibly it could show up in subscriber mailboxes in late November. And if it does, then that will have part 1 of a new High Republic short story, and this one is slated to be written by Cavan Scott. On the comic book side of things, oh boy, it's a big month as usual. So Star Wars issues 18 and 19, Dr. Aphra number 16, Darth Vader number 18, and Bounty Hunters number 17 and 18. And Bounty Hunters number 17 is the last of those tie-in issues to the War of the Bounty Hunters situation, which that actual series itself is complete at this point. And for younger readers, Star Wars Adventures issue 12, and also the annual for Star Wars Adventures, the first annual, which is a 2021 annual, obviously. Those are both coming out in November. For the High Republic, there's a lot of action happening there as well. On the older reader side, if you will, High Republic number 11 and also Trail of Shadows number 2 are coming out this month. And for the younger side of things, High Republic Adventures number 10 and The Monster of Temple Peak number 4 are coming out. And then finally, in the comic situation, there's going to be a Life Day one-shot coming out on November 17th. All right, so that's 7 categories down so far and leaves us what tend to be the 5 quicker categories. So virtual reality, I think we're done for the year. They released the second half of Tales from the Galaxy's Edge, and based on just what's happened in previous years, it would be a surprise to hear news from that particular corner of the Star Wars galaxy, so should be pretty quiet. On the video game front, there's nothing necessarily scheduled for November, but there might be some rumors starting to percolate this month because of the fact that the video game icon is showing up on the Bring Home the Bounty situation for December 14th. So yeah, we might start to hear some things percolating perhaps. And that leads me to roll right into the merchandise category. So having mentioned Bring Home the Bounty, that initiative continues every Tuesday in November leading up to the release of the Book of Boba Fett eventually at the end of the year. In the streaming category, on Disney Plus Day, which is happening November 12th, we're supposed to get a special called Under the Helmet, The Legacy of Boba Fett. And wouldn't it be nice if when last year at the Disney Investor Day, they said that there were going to be 10 episodes of Visions, but we only have 9. Wouldn't it be fun if they surprised us with the 10th episode of Visions? That would be cool. I don't have any inside information on it, just knowing the disconnect between that initial announcement and what we actually got, and just fingers crossed that there is a 10th one they're going to drop on us as a surprise. And for our last category, the experiential category that covers live events and park experiences and that sort of thing, well, we don't know the exact date yet, but November is a month in which we should have a Disney earnings report. And when that happens, there's an investor call that happens that goes along with it. And sometimes they drop new little interesting tidbits of information on those investor calls. So we'll be keeping an eye out for that when it gets announced and when it happens. So there you go. That is a look ahead at the month of November in Star Wars storytelling as we know about it right now. And for everything that breaks and everything that surprises us, we'll cover it here on the show going forward for the month of November of 2021. So that's going to do it for today's episode. It just remains for me to say thank you so much for joining me for it as always, and may the Force be with you wherever in the world you may be.
7x7 is not endorsed or sponsored yet by Lucasfilm Limited, Disney, or 20th Century Fox, and is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Star Wars, the Star Wars logo, all names and pictures of Star Wars characters, vehicles, and any other Star Wars related items are registered trademarks and/or copyrights of Lucasfilm Limited, or their respective trademark and copyright holders. May the Force be with them. All original content is copyright 2021 by Star Wars 7x7. We hope you love it.